Recording in progress.
Welcome to part 2 of the interview with former Water Resources Minister and Water Resources expert of repute, Engineer Deepak Tiwari. Tiwari says that during his interactions with former Foreign Secretary, the then Foreign Secretary of India, Muchkund Dubey, he used to show willingness to purchase hydropower generated in Nepal. But the project cost of these projects does not help. It's exorbitantly high. The hydropower produced in Nepal costs much higher than in other countries. So that makes the export virtually impossible. That is what his premise is. We are talking about, we were also talking about Bangladesh's increasing interest in hydropower projects in Nepal, storage type hydels in particular. For Bangladesh, flood control is the topmost priority. As for water and sources of energy, Gewali argues that that country has enough of them. Our neighbor's neighbor, that is Bangladesh, has enough of them, natural gas and oil. I have said during interactions with Bangladeshi experts and officials that your country, that is Bangladesh, wants to export flood to Nepal. Isn't it interesting? Bangladesh wanting to export flood to Nepal throughout the year, that is, by investing in the construction of dam based hydels. That is what Jawali argues. If such projects materialize, what will happen? For Gewali, Nepali territories coping with seasonal floods and inundation will have to deal with floods and inundation all year round. Every monsoon, thousands of hectares of Nepal's fertile farmlands go underwater. Lakhs of people get displaced. They become shelterless, mainly because India, in blatant violation of international practices, has built water regulatory structures and it continues to build water regulatory structures like high elevation roads, embankments, and such abutting Nepal's border. Uh, there are instances where India has constructed such regulatory structures on Nepali territories themselves. So, with the natural course of these rivers obstructed, Nepali territories and the Nepali peoples living along the border bear the hardest brunt of such initiatives, such unilateral actions on the part of Nepal's southern neighbor, India. Now we are talking about the dam based hydels. Uh, Exacerbating Nepal's flood and inundation problems. Bangladesh seems interested in such hydels. It wants to protect its territories from seasonal floods and all. All it wants is benefits at the expense of Nepal's costs. That is what the gist of this statement is. So if such dam based projects materialize, Nepal will be on the receiving end. But then this is also okay. I say to them, that is what Gewali says, provided that they are willing to foot the associated costs of such projects, including the cost of inundation of our territories for the sake of protecting Bangladeshi, for the sake of protecting Bangladesh from flooding and inundation. A bit about Nepal's increasing reliance on fossil fuel, whose prices are never stable. Kewali says, while Maoist leader Babram Bhattrai was in power, he went for the expansion of roads. In the Kathmandu Valley in particular, that is my note, this move is also behind the increased consumption of fossil fuel in Nepal. Data show that this petroleum addiction has been increasing in the country over the years. That is an alarming development. Instead of promoting, instead of encouraging the use of green energy like hydropower, we are we are going for fossil fuel. That is one of the main reasons behind this global warming, uh, because they emit greenhouse gases that contribute further to global warming. Then there is this case of produced water also. This issue also focused on that interview. Produced water is water collected in dams and reservoirs by inundating territories and displacing communities. Produced water costs worldwide. Are we, by demanding a fair price for produced water, weaponizing water? In response, Gewali says, India has introduced provisions stating that it will not purchase power generated with Chinese investment. Despite this toughening of stance, India sold the Upper Marsangbi hydel license to a Chinese company. On the contrary, India is weaponizing water through such provisions, not Nepal, by taking it as a strategic asset. That is what Diwali argues. He also takes up this case of Nepal only focusing on hydroelectricity and not focusing on multiplier benefits of a project like water for irrigation, navigation, fisheries, and drinking water, while uh, seeking to harness rivers. We seem to be forgetting the sources of fresh water. We seem to be forgetting that the sources of fresh water are very limited in comparison to sources of energy. In response to my query about this short-sightedness on the part of Nepal, uh, on this tendency of ignoring the multiplier benefits of a project, Gimali says, He takes the example of the reservoir-based Budi Gandaki project of 1200 megawatt. This project can irrigate around 1 lakh hectares of farmland down south in Nepal's southern plains, that is. It can also irrigate fields across the border. That's why we need to take cross-border benefits into account while developing this project. The project should be built on the basis of cost and benefit sharing. As for the political leaders, the ruling elite, not seeking expert opinion on these crucial matters related to water resources. uh, One of the very important natural resources of Nepal, Kewali says, political leaders do not need to consult us. Political leaders, he concedes that political leaders do not consult with experts like him. In fact, they don't need to. That is what Kewali says. Our inputs are all there in the public domain, so there's no need to consult us. Rather, it's necessary to just look into, to study those materials that are already in the public domain. What the political leaders need to do is implement those suggestions, those inputs. They need to put national interest above all else. That is what uh, the former minister and expert, a renowned expert, Deepak Kiwali, says about Nepal's relations, unequal and unjust relations with India regarding water resources. With this, we have just pretty much summed up the interview taken with former minister and expert Gewali. This is our initiative, part of our initiative to promote citizen journalism. We request you to subscribe to this channel, comment on our presentation, and press that like button. Journalism, it has started costing worldwide. We need a sustainable uh, way to keep this independent, unhyphenated journalism going in these tough times. In this context, your subscribership, your readership, your audience, the viewership, I mean, it means a lot to us. So once again, I request you to subscribe to this channel, comment on our presentation, and press that like button. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.